So, is nonviolence fight or flight? If we think of the uses of nonviolence in the American Civil Rights Movement or in many of the other nonviolent revolutions that have taken place around the world, nonviolence is obviously a form of fighting. And in Bernard Lafayette's words, you're fighting with other weapons and with a different purpose. Um, but nonviolence is definitely fighting if we think of those very dramatic examples of nonviolent social change. Um, there are also strategic decisions um, to wait to take action or to choose your battles and focus on one thing rather than another issue for the moment. In that case, we might describe the nonviolent decision as a form of flight, but that's not the best word for it. Um, an example of what I mean is when uh, James Lawson, instructing the demonstrators who are going to go off and do sit-ins in teams, he said he didn't want a black person to be in a team. These were two-person teams. He didn't want a black person to be in a team with a white person of the opposite sex because we don't want to fight that battle. The issue of the moment was desegregating lunch counters. And although mixed race pairings of many different levels of work and intimacy, that's an issue, that's a real issue. It wasn't the issue of the moment. So picking your battle is an example of sort of holding off or waiting on one issue until you've dealt with the one that's top of mind for the moment. I think the problem around these words is that ordinarily the phrase fight or flight refers to a state of near panic that has a bodily basis. um, Nonviolence doesn't involve panic. It involves problem solving. That's the kind of nonviolence that I'm talking about. But that fight or flight reaction, if you've taken an introductory psychology course or an introduction to neuroscience, you know that the nervous system has a number of parts to it, divisions. One part is called the autonomic nervous system, which isn't really under much conscious control. But part of the autonomic nervous system, when it's aroused, produces this fight or flight syndrome. And it has a number of symptoms that all are consistent with the idea that the body is getting ready for either fighting or running away. But there's another part of the autonomic nervous system whose function is to calm us down. And to the extent that we can get a little bit of voluntary control of these unconscious processes through things like meditation and reading and listening to calm music and so on, we can activate that other side, and that can help to counteract the panic of the fight or flight response. So there are lots of examples of everyday problem solving that don't involve either fight or flight. They don't involve that kind of autonomic arousal. And they are really better examples of what nonviolence is all about. If you have ever tried to calm a child who's upset and soothe them and help them to feel safe and comfortable, that's a nonviolent act. That's a nonviolent problem-solving act. And, you know, some people are better at it than others, perhaps. But most types of nonviolence don't involve that fight or flight response at all. They involve having skills that are helpful for solving problems in a nonviolent way and without becoming emotionally upset oneself in a way that gets transmitted like a contagious disease to other people. So that's a little discussion of the fight or flight response in relation to the concept of nonviolence, the way I understand it. And I hope you found this interesting. I'll see you next time.